on the America's Pulse Network. Today we are featuring an encore presentation of a previous episode while Alexandra is traveling and attending candidate events. Please click the subscribe button to be notified of upcoming episodes. If you enjoy the show, please share Alexandra Levine live with others. Alexandra looks forward to being back with you live for the next episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast starts now.
Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. I may have to do some different backgrounds going on because this one, it was beautiful, but it looks really fuzzy. So hold on a minute. I don't want to blur. No. I guess we'll have to do that one. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. Sorry. It looks like it's all messed up. And it's sad because I had a beautiful American flag. So anyway, we'll start over. Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the Alexandra Levine live at the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe right now. We are live on 15 different channels. We have some major breaking news out of Kentucky. Ed Galron, the former Navy SEAL, I probably am butchering his last name, Galrine, wins the Republican primary for Kentucky's 4th congressional district. This is important, guys, because he literally took down the guy, Thomas Massie, who's an alt-right Republican, who is staunch anti-Israel, staunch anti-Trump. We found out through Laura Loomer that he gets his money through the Qatari government. We found out through Laura Loomer, and we'll focus on that later, about his ex-girlfriend and what he did with her. We found out about the affair that he had with Lauren Boebert. This guy is really nasty. And all he is just a no vote for Trump. He's been a no vote for Trump for a few years now. And thank you, President Trump. Thank you for your endorsement for this man, for pushing this man, for calling out the rhino, Thomas Massie. It's Make America Great Again, guys. And we now have someone in there that will keep Kentucky House District 4 for the people and not for themselves. Again, a lot of these guys go into Congress and they tell you what you want to hear, and then they're bought and paid for. This guy, I know that he's going to do the work for the people in Kentucky in this district, and also he's going to work well with President Trump. And we're so happy that Mr. Galrine, won this primary. Another breaking news, Andy Barr, who was endorsed by President Trump, he won the U.S. Senate primary race. He's going to be taking over for Mitch McConnell. And a lot of people were upset because there was another guy. He owned his own garbage, he was part of the waste management industry. He had a great commercial. I'm so sorry that I'm blanking on his name. He's a very sweet guy. And he's very conservative. And, you look at the numbers, you look at the money that the guy raised, and they were concerned that the guy was not going to win the general, maybe not even win the primary. So President Trump's like, look, I like you. You're a nice guy. He's like, I'm going to make you a brand ambassador. When you're a brand ambassador, you are treated like a king. You are the king of the castle. You live in the capital of the country. You live in a castle or you live in a big mansion. You have servants galore. Your food is made for you. You have someone cleaning your clothes. It's better than a hotel. It's literally like being a king or a queen. You have full door-to-door service. You have a slew of people that you can hire. First, they hire through the State Department, then you can hire your own team. But it's not bad being a brand ambassador. People don't understand there's a lot of perks to it. But I know people were upset that the president told that one guy to step down and become a brand ambassador, and that this guy, Andy Barr, takes over and becomes the new U.S. Senator for Mitch McConnell. I hope to God that Andy Barr will do the work for the people of Kentucky. I hope that Andy Barr will not be a rhino in the Senate, and I hope that he will work with President Trump. As you know, there was a lot of rhinos, a lot of obstructionists, and a lot of alt-right people, and even, oh my God, like Islamic terrorist groups that endorsed Mr. Massey. I mean, there was like a long list. President Trump, he called out Rand Paul. He called out Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. He said, who's going to primary out these people? He said, these people need to be primaried out. Who's going to take over for Lauren Boebert? She's done. I mean, these are people that pledge their loyalty. You know, they say they love President Trump. They say that they support him. And then some, you know, how do I say it? A switch. It's like a flip of a switch, and they turn on him. They turn on him. They talk crap about him. They don't support him. They don't like that he's helping out with Israel. It's like their true colors have really come out here. And Thomas Massey's true colors have come out. He's very anti-Semitic. And, you know, it's a problem. It's a huge, huge problem. But I'm very happy that the people of Kentucky listened to President Trump. They saw the light. They voted against Thomas Massey. And now we're going to have a real conservative in that district, primary in that District 4 in Kentucky. Another breaking news. This is huge. So this was a couple hours ago. Remember, President Trump was saying he was going to make an announcement who he was going to endorse for U.S. Senate on the Republican side in the state of Texas. He said whoever he endorses, he asked that they bow out. Whoever he endorses, the person he doesn't endorse, he asks them to bow out and to endorse the person that he endorses. And if they don't, it's a problem. Now, Ken Paxton, he came out months ago and he said, look, I'll bow out if John Cornyn states that he will vote and pass DHS funding and help fund the border wall and help fund fix our fiscal budget, but also help DHS and help the people of this country and stop pushing illegal immigration. Stop pushing these illegals to come into our country. John Cornyn is a huge freaking rhino. Now, he's got a lot of money in the state of Texas, a lot. The guy's a billionaire. Everybody knows John Cornyn. But Ken Paxton is the attorney general. He had a lot of crap against him with the 2020 election because he called it a fraud. And I mean, the guy has been through hell. So this is really his chance this is his chance. This is his vengeance right here. But it's not just vengeance. He actually follows the Constitution. He's a good person. And with President Trump's endorsement, I believe that he will become the next U.S. Senator in Texas. I really do. And John Cornyn, you know, he wrote a statement. He was very, you know, wasn't endorsing Mr. Paxton. He basically said, you know, President Trump and I, we were cool. We were friends. He endorsed me, called me his friend. I voted on 99% of his legislation. What he passed into law. And he's like, I hope the people of Texas, they realize who's the real Republican and who's not, and who's the person that's going to get the job done. So he's obviously not happy that the president didn't endorse the incumbent, because remember, John Cornyn is the incumbent. But I hope to God that the people of Texas get out and vote for Ken Paxton. I love Ken Paxton. You know, I said on this show, I endorse him. We've endorsed him. And I would have been very disappointed if President Trump endorsed John Cornyn. I had a funny feeling he wasn't going to endorse John Cornyn. I mean, John Cornyn didn't show up for CPAC Dallas. CPAC endorsed Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton's extremely conservative. So thank you, President Trump. Thank you for doing the right thing. And thank you for endorsing the right person. Now we go into segment 1. So segment 1 focuses a lot on the election. And it also focuses on the election fraud. There's a lot of election fraud going around across the country. As you know, in the state of Ohio, we had a month of early voting. And of course, we had the primary election. And, you know, in the state of Ohio, yeah, they have mail-in ballots, but it's not like in other liberal states. And in the state of Ohio, and even in the state of Florida, when you do early voting, they've already counted all the ballots for early voting. They've already counted your mail-in ballots. Election day, they just count everything on election day. But not in liberal states like Maryland, Michigan, Pennsylvania. They wait till election day, and then they count all the mail-in ballots. Then they count all of the early voting. And the thing is, those mail-in ballots are in drop boxes. And we've all seen the shenanigans. We all saw the movie 2000 Mules, or the documentary that Dinesh D'Souza created. I loved that documentary because it showed like the real fraud going on. It shows multiple people putting in multiple different ballots, redoing their ballots, but voting for other people, ballot harvesting. I mean, there's some real shenanigans that are going on, and they're going on even now in 2026. That's why it's so important to pass the Save America Act. And I mean, Senator John Thune sees the effery that's happening across the country, how these damn Democrats are doing everything to cheat, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And President Trump is doing everything he can to fully investigate the shenanigans that are going on. And I know the RNC is on top of it too. But I mean, seriously, this is sick. It's very sick what's going on. We should have free and fair elections, and everybody should be held accountable. Why aren't there arrests being made? You can't prove it? Come on. So let's put up the first slide from @Real Donald Trump. So the first segment of this segment one, the first part of the segment one, talks about what's going on in Iran. As you know, President Trump just came back from a huge trip to China, and he's still working on what's going on in Iran. As you know, the president was supposed to bomb Iran a couple days ago, and he said, the Iranians are coming to the table now. They want to negotiate, but if I don't like the deal, they know I'll bomb the hell out of them. So he keeps giving Iran a chance. The head leaders of Iran, keeps giving them a chance to redeem themselves, because Iran right now, the regime is they're coming to an end. But I blame the people. I don't want to say blame, but the Iranian people have an opportunity here to take back their country. And Reza Pahlavi, who I met, who was the former president, who I met at CPAC Dallas this past couple months, he said, I'm ready to take over. I'm in transition to take over. But the people have to take back their country. So President Trump wrote, this was a couple days ago, if Iran surrenders and admits their navy is gone resting at the bottom of the sea, and their air force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each shouting, quote, I surrender, while wildly waving the representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary, quote, documents of surrender and admit their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the Chinese Street Journal, WSJ, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news media, will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. The Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy, President JT. I agree with him there. Let's put up the next slide. So the next slide also talks about what I was saying, that President Trump was going to go in there and attack, and then they called him and they're like, no, we're here to negotiate. We're here to make a deal. So this was yesterday. He said, I've been asked by the Emir of Qatar, or Qatar. That's how you said Qatar, not Qatar. Qatar. That's how the Arabs pronounce it. It's Qatar. Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman Al Saad, and the President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. And the only reason I know how to pronounce this is because I speak Hebrew, Medaber Ivrit. To hold off on our planned military attack of the Islamic Republic of Iran, which was scheduled for tomorrow, and that serious negotiations are not taking place, and that in their opinion, as great leaders and allies, a deal will be made, which will be very acceptable to the United States of America, as well as all countries in the Middle East and beyond. This deal will include, importantly, quote, no nuclear weapons for Iran. Based on my respect for the above-mentioned leaders, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Daniel Raisin Kane, and the United States military that we will not be doing the scheduled attack of Iran tomorrow, but have further instructed them to be prepared to go forward with a full, large-scale assault of Iran on a moment's notice in the event that an acceptable deal is not reached. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. So this is important, guys. Now, I'll be honest, a lot of people are frustrated, and a lot of Jewish people are actually frustrated, regardless of political party. They want this over with. They want President Trump to just go in there and knock these people out. It's very hard to negotiate with these guys, especially with terrorists. And as we know, the Iranian Islamic regime, they're very powerful. They have a lot of money. They made their money vis-a-vis oil, but they control the power of the purse of oil for a lot of countries like Russia and so forth. So President Trump is the only person that's actually wanting to do something, wanting to change what's happened over there for 47 years. It's very important that we, I would say, support President Trump in his venture, Again, support our biggest ally, Israel. It's very important. But also to understand the stakes here. Now, everyone's like, why hasn't Trump bombed these people? Let's just get it done. Well, he doesn't want a World War III. Remember, President Trump is a deal maker. He's a business owner. He's a business maker. He's a developer, construction worker. He builds things. He makes deals. He builds things for the better, for a new tomorrow. Hotels, that's him. That's what he does. And you know, he said it in the Art of the Deal. He said, when you go into negotiation, you put the deal right in front of them, and then you step away from the table. You walk away from the table. You give them a moment to digest it, to look through it. You don't nudge them. You don't nudge them. You let them sit and think about it. That's what President Trump is doing here. It's like deal or no deal. If you don't give us a deal, we'll bomb the hell out of you. If you want to do a deal with us, we'll stop. We won't bomb you. But Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. It's been proven that Iran has the capabilities of making nuclear weapons. Netanyahu has proved it for over 20 years. And President Trump, he sees the central intelligence. He sees the intelligence on this. It's not like President Bush, where they said, oh, there was weapons of mass destruction. This is not a vendetta type of war. It's not a war that we're going to be in for 17 years. I can tell you that. So I know it's frustrating. I know it's tough. I want this to be over with, but we just have to wait. I always say, trust the man, trust the plan. But I can tell you a lot of hardcore Trump supporters that I thought were my friends, they've all turned on Trump. It's really sad. They've all turned on Trump. They don't say anything nice about him. It's really disgusting. People that I thought really loved our country. They come up with these asinine excuses why they're not supporting Trump anymore. It shows you who his real friends are. It shows you who really gives a crap. I can tell you, I love what President Trump is doing. I love him now more than ever. And I have really high hopes for this country, and I have really high hopes for the state of Israel. I really do. And I tell my friends and family that are in Israel right now, just pray. Just really pray. That Hashem will be there as your guide to help you. That Hashem is there with you, and Jesus Christ, and anyone else there that you worship. But you have to have faith here. You have to believe in the power of prayer, and you have to believe in God at this moment. Let's go to the next slide. So this is really damning news that's coming out of Maryland. As you know, I'm a political consultant. I'm working with a lot of candidates in the Maryland area. This is so scary to me. So in Maryland, they're sending out mail-in ballots. They send them out for about a few days. The early voting for the primary it starts June 11th to the 18th, and then the primary election is June 23rd. I encourage every single voter, especially Republican voters in the state of Maryland, to please vote early and vote in person. Do not vote by mail. Do not put your mail-in ballot in a drop box. If you're a senior citizen, or if you have a family who's a senior citizen, encourage them to go and vote early or do an absentee. But these mail-in ballots that Maryland is producing or has already produced are illegal. And I've sent countless articles and messages to the State Board of Elections in Baltimore County, the county elections, and also the State Board of Elections. The State Board of Elections has not gotten back to me. It's the Baltimore County Board of Elections has. And they said that they're doing everything they can to fix this problem. The RNC, the Republican National Committee, of course, is on top of this. I know they had a meeting with the State Board of Elections in Maryland to try to fix this. There has been countless constituents that have called for the stopping of the mail-in ballots, to pause it, to not even have them. But this is what these crazies in Maryland did. So they sent out 500,000 illegal mail-in ballots, and they got caught. So now they're going to send out another 500,000 mail-in ballots, but nobody knows what's happening with the first 500,000 they sent. In addition, many of these ballots went to Democrats. So any Republican running in Maryland doesn't have a chance. This was done by the corrupt governor of the state, Wes Moore. He allowed this to happen in order to make sure that Democrats win. It never made sense to me that Maryland was considered an automatic Democrat state, but now I see why. I'm sure this has gone on for years. I'm going to ask the Attorney General of the United States and the DOJ to bring an immediate investigation into this situation, President Donald J. Trump. I'm glad he's on top of this. But this is what he did. He sent massive amounts of ballots, duplicate ballots, to multiple different families. Not him, but I'm saying the State Board of Elections did. And they knew what they were doing. And who oversees this? The head of the State Board of Elections, the head that worked for the county elections. If you don't think Governor Wes Moore is behind this, oh my God. And the Attorney General over there, the Maryland Attorney General, Anthony Brown, he's a piece of crap. And Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott, they're all in on it. Because I saw the cheating happen in 2020. I saw the cheating happen in 2022. I have some really great people that need to win, that live in Republican hardcore MAGA districts. I do not want their elections to be screwed because of this. And then the Board of Election, the County Board of Elections says, well, what they're going to do is they're going to throw out the old 500,000 ballots, and then whoever got the new 500,000 ballots, those are the ballots we're going to count. If they send in a old mail-in ballot, we'll cut it off. How is that? How can you track that? How is that possible? What is the solution? Don't send out the ballots and don't do mail-in and don't send your ballots in. The tracker won't even work. And how do you think this is happening? Remember, it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes. It's the Board of Elections people. It's the election judges. It's the poll watchers that are not part of candidates. A lot of them are through hybrid PACs and different PACs that try to coerce their way into getting their candidates in. It's not a robot that's doing this, guys. You can blame the machines all day and all night, but it's a person putting the ballot through the machine. It's a person working the machines. It's a person messing with the machines and the technology. It's called corrupt internal election personnel. As I've said, my friend William Newton, he coined the term. He proved it. He staked his life on election integrity. All of his stuff is archived in multiple different GOPs all over this country. The only person you should listen to is William Newton when it comes to election integrity. He's given all of his stuff to President Trump, former Congressman Chris Kobach, and many others. Maryland GOP and actually the legislators in Annapolis, they have a copy of his MDREIC report where he puts in detail the election fraud in Maryland. And he predicted all of this. And why is this happening? Because they did not pass the Save America Act. But it's also because of the people that are involved in our elections. In Maryland in particular, at the Board of Elections, there's a guy named Will Fuhr who was voted in by the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee through ranked choice voting, which is a form of fraud. William Newton actually won that vote count. But because of ranked choice voting, he got screwed. He went from first place to third, and they picked the top two people. So Will Fuhr, who is biased towards one of Tim's opponents, who works for Delegate Rick Metzger, he's in charge of the Baltimore County Board of Elections. I've contacted the head, Rui, who's a part of the State Board of Elections, to get him off, to ask him to recuse himself. Again, he is considered part of the corrupt internal election personnel. I'm very concerned that he will sway the election in the way that we don't want. That is how elections get lost. It's not the dead people. It's not the voter rolls. It is corrupt internal election personnel. It's the person themselves. It is the human that is screwing with our elections. And you can do lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. But if you don't vet the people that are in charge of the elections, and if you don't really have cameras around, you're screwed. It's really important, guys, that we get to the bottom of this. But again, if you are in Maryland, do not send in your mail-in ballot. You're a Republican, do not. Democrats don't. Independent, nobody should be sending in a mail-in ballot, whatever, regardless of political party you're affiliated with. We want a free and fair election here. Because the problem is that if you send 2 ballots, your vote is considered disqualified, and you'll have to fill out a provisional ballot, which I can tell you the state of Maryland doesn't count. They count it at the last second on election day. They don't really count them. Doesn't really help you if you have a provisional ballot in the state of Maryland. Doesn't help you. But we don't want that. We want your vote to count. We don't want you going in the ballot box and saying, "Oh, you already voted by mail." No, I didn't. Well, according to the records, you did. That's happened. And remember, in the state of Maryland, you do not have to show photo ID. So a lot of illegals are going to be voting in these elections. And a lot of illegals are filling out these mail-in ballots. This is a huge thing. Lawsuits should be flying. The RNC should literally, the Republican National Law Association, which is headed up by a lot of rhinos, by the way. And the RNC still has a lot of rhinos, by the way. They should get their acts together, or their jobs are on the chopping block. I feel bad for Congressman Anthony Harris, who's the head of the Freedom Caucus in Congress. You know, his seat could be in jeopardy over this. And his wife is the chairwoman of the MD-GOP, and she works at the RNC directly with David Bossie, Nicolay Ambrose. These people aren't doing their jobs. They say they are. They say, "Oh, we're taking steps." They're not doing crap. And William Newton has proved it time and time again. I really hope to God that my colleagues, my candidates get in, that they win their primaries, and that they go on to win the general. I hope that people see the light, and I hope this doesn't happen anymore. Because again, the Save America Act needs to be passed. Let's put up the next slide. So this is actually a continuation on of Thomas Massie, as we know. And my producer, Damon, shared, do we have an update on the percentage of votes that has come in already for Mr. G, Mr. Galerion? I'm going to refresh it myself. Well, I cannot turn my camera yet until it's all clear behind me. When it's all clear, then I can turn my camera back on. Let's see. So he's giving, okay, so Andy Barr, he's speaking. Let's see. As I said, I cannot turn my camera yet until it's clear. Okay, all clear. Let's see. Okay, so we're at 54.8. Is that updated, Damon? Or is that from earlier? Oh, he's checking for me. That's with 84%. Okay. Yeah, so 84%, 85% expected votes. So we're still at that 54.8. So actually, yeah, Mr. Ed definitely took the lead. So people ask me, why was it called so soon? Not every single county has been updated. Why is it called so soon? And I'm like, because they look to see where the votes are coming from. If there's majority, if they see the majority of the votes coming in, percentage-wise, then they'll give it to whoever's leading. They look to see where the votes are coming from, because it has to do with one every third vote coming for a candidate, one every fifth vote coming for a candidate. So what they did is they evaluated, and they saw, based on these numbers, we have 50,000, there's like 9,000 votes between them, and they have 17,000 left. And we'll start to see, when it says skip to GOP county results, you can actually see where the votes are coming from in each county. And, Ed and Thomas Massie, they're looking at the different areas. There we go. Where, look how much Ed is compared to Mr. Massie. Ed has Covington, Frankfurt. He's got all of those compared to Mr. Massie, who only won like 2 counties. So you can see the progression. And people really need to see this because they don't know. And it took me a long time. Elections are a percentage game. It's all about percentage. But yeah, you can click searching county by county, and it'll show you who's up and who's down. So the lighter red is Mr. Ed, and then the darker color is Mr. Massie. So, excuse me, I had a video on. So my question to my audience is, where's Mr. Massey going to go after this? What's he going to do? Is he going to get a job at CNN? Is he going to get a job at OANN? Is he going to continue to spear his anti-Semitism? Is he going to, I don't know, continue his affair with Lauren Boebert, because she's going to be out of a job? Oh, good. My friend and colleague Damon Galdo, he commented, now what you see fraudulent, the damage telling people not to send in their mail-in ballots will be worse. I hate mail-in ballots, but it's still a thing. But the thing is, Damon, the problem is when people send in their mail-in ballots, that's what's causing a lot of the fraud, because they're going to send it in 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So, I mean, I know that most Democrats do mail-in ballots over Republicans. Are you saying that if more Republicans send in mail-in ballots, it would override the Democrats? Is that what you're saying? I just want to understand what he's saying a little bit, because it's really about, to be honest with you, it's really about being too big to rig. But if you are in a hardcore MAGA district, you don't want to rely on the mail-in ballots. It depends on what district you are. Like, for example, like Tim Fazenmaker's district is hardcore MAGA. I don't want a bunch of his MAGA constituents putting in a mail-in ballot. Where is Thomas? Where is Tim going to pick up the votes? He'll pick up the votes with early voting, because instead of all of his voters voting on the day like they normally do, traditional, they will flood the early voting centers and they will early vote, and he'll have more of a higher percentage of early votes than on election day. I mean, and yes, the Democrats will do more of the mail-in ballots than the Republicans. But again, what we're seeing in Maryland is if Republicans and Democrats and independents, if they put everything mail-in ballot, you're going to see a lot more cheating than ever before. And then people are going to go up to, they're going to try to track their ballot, and they're going to see that their ballot is not valid. That's what's really going to happen. They're going to say, well, you voted from the old batch. Your ballot isn't valid. You decided not to do the new batch. Well, here's a provisional. So we're actually encouraging people that live in more MAGA districts to vote early. If you're in a more Democrat district, maybe for a Republican, it's better to do the mail-in ballots. But I'm against the mail-in ballots 100%. It is subject to fraud. Because the problem is they do not match they do not do signature checks on these mail-in ballots. Anybody can sign their name on these mail-in ballots. It's funny, and you know this, Damon, they're very particular. The Board of Elections is very particular how many signatures you get to be on the ballot. And the person's signature for your signature for the ballot. And you know this, if you have to get 1,000 signatures to make it, it's more like you really have to get 2,000 to 3,000 signatures. Like, I have people in Ohio. They only needed 50 signatures, but they got 100, 150, 180 because they didn't want to get screwed. There's one lady here in Ohio that did get screwed. She got 58 signatures, and the Board of Elections, they said more than half of her signatures were incorrect, and they dropped her to 49. And by the time she wanted to contest it, they told her, well, you only have 2 days to become a write-in. If not, you're off the ballot, period. So she kind of succumbed because she was on a deadline. And she said, fine, just write me in and just put me in as a write-in. And it's a shame because she was a really good candidate. But again, mail-in ballots need to go. It caused a lot of cheating, and it caused President Trump the election in 2020. We saw it in Pennsylvania, we saw in Michigan, dumps and dumps of mail-in ballots come in at 2:00 in the morning. And that's what screws you. That's what screws you. Let's put up the next slide. Oh, and then here's President Trump again commenting on the worst congressman in the long and storied history of the Republican Party is Thomas Massie. This was a couple days ago. He's an obstructionist and a fool. I'm sorry, not a fuel. Vote him out of office tomorrow, Tuesday. It will be a great day for America. Look, President Trump got wins across the board. Majority of people that he endorsed won, and for him to endorse a non-incumbent, because they say 85 to 90% of incumbents usually win. But when you have the president behind the person who's running against the incumbent, woof! I really would love President Trump to endorse a lot of these MAGA people running in Maryland and so forth that are dealing with this mail-in ballot fraud. Love him to endorse my friend Damon Galdo. That would be awesome. It's because we have to put real conservatives in office and keep them there. So coming up after the break, because my guest is here, we will, don't forget our sponsor, FoliumPX.com. I am a big proponent again of clean products. This is a heavy metal full body detox. This is really good after Mother's Day as we're going into Memorial Day weekend. That's when we all get fat from the cookouts and the cakes and the ham and the hot dogs and the hamburgers. So this is really good to take before Memorial Day and after Memorial Day. And as you know, we're all trying to get into that summer bikini. So this is really good. Instead of taking Ozempic, everybody, take foliumpx.com. There's the QR code. You get a little bit of a discount. There will be a Memorial Day discount as well as a Father's Day discount, because Father's Day always comes the second weekend in June. And of course, July 4th, there'll be huge discounts as well. We'll be right back after the break with my special guest, Dr. Harper. Stay with us, guys.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. As you know, we had the good doctor on a couple days ago, and unfortunately his phone cut out, so we didn't get to finish his interview. But as you know, Dr. Matthew Anthony Harper, I don't know why I can't speak tonight. I'm very tired. I'm so sorry about that. I've been on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep every day, just working and selling insurance, life and health insurance particularly. This is a big time right now to get life insurance. A lot of people are dying young. I get a lot of young people that want health insurance and life insurance. But anyway, Dr. Matthew Anthony Harper, he's at the White House with me. He's a White House correspondent. He is one of the first reporters to report on UNRWA, also to report on combating anti-Semitism. And he is just a great human being that has a passion to support the Jewish people, to support Israel. And, we want to bring him on now. I know my producer said he needs to rotate his camera. How are we doing? Oh, he's got to rotate his camera. There we go. Hello, the good doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's great to join you, Alexandra.
Perfect. Good to have you back. So let's get into it, Dr. Harper, because one of the biggest things I want to talk to you about, of course, is Iran. And as you know, President Trump, he said yesterday that he was going to go in and bomb Iran, but they want to come in with a deal. They're like, no, President Trump, no, we got a deal for you. What says you about that? And do you think that the Iranians will finally make a deal with President Trump, in your opinion?
I don't see that the Iranians are going to make a deal that's going to be acceptable. Not only, I guess the main issue for President Trump really has been all along, and for the Prime Minister Netanyahu, is that, Iran can't have a bomb, but, they can lie, which they've been doing very well. They can lie, say, we will that they can make a promise that they will never have a bomb, but it can't be that alone. We can't believe them in the first place. And the IRGC can't be left in power. Any of the Ayatollah supporters in power, because this problem will continue. And after President Trump is not there, it's sad to say that he can't be there forever in this matter. And things move on, things change. We can't afford a nuclearized Iran. We can't afford to have an Ayatollah-supported regime there. There has to be total regime change, and the protesters really should be part of the government or make up all of the government.
I agree with that. What do you think about, Reza Pahlavi? He was here at CPAC in Dallas. He's a big friend of Netanyahu's. He supports Israel. He supports the United States. When I was at CPAC, Reza said that they're in transition to put him in there. But he made the emphasis that the Iranian people need to take back their country. There's some speculation that, Reza's not really doing anything behind the scenes. He's more like he's going to be like the Messiah of Iran. Like he's going to wait till the people take over the country, and then he's going to come in and be that white knight, the Mashiach, the Messiah, to kind of like clean up the mess that the Islamic regime has put together for 47 plus years. What is your opinion on that? Do you think that Reza will be the president of Iran one day, in your opinion?
I really don't know whether he will be or not. It depends on what the protesters think. If a majority of the protesters want him, then he will be. But yeah, it just all depends about what percentage of the protesters are going to support him, and what the opposition is going to be to him. Of course, any of the IRGC people, if they're in the voting process, there's a serious problem. But I hope and I pray for a peaceful government there that will be a blessing to Israel, that will be a blessing to the United States, that we will have a peaceful relationship there. And it's good for all the Arab nations surrounding Iran for this to happen. And surely Saudi Arabia and the leaders there and other Arab countries are smart enough to know that you can't have an Ayatollah-supported regime there that is against them. I mean, it's so much against them that they would bomb them. So totally unacceptable. And I don't see that Iran's really going to be able to come up with any acceptable plan. And that forces us to do a lot more, to do some targeted attacks of IRGC headquarters. And overall, the protesters, they have to be able to defend themselves. Unless they have weapons to defend themselves, hopefully the people in the Iranian army will defect and to join the protesters and supply weapons to them. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah, sorry. My question to you is, why haven't the Iranian people taken back their country? What's the holdup? Are they afraid? Are they nervous? I mean, in Afghanistan, and we saw the people uprise and they went against Saddam Hussein. Not Afghanistan, Iraq. But why aren't the people of Iran? I speak to a lot of Iranians that come to this country, to visit, or a lot of Iranian Americans. They really don't like what's going on over there. Their families don't like what's going on over there. Why haven't the Iranian people taken back their country? What's the holdup?
The holdup is that they can't defend themselves. When I see that if they don't have weapons to defend themselves, that's
even with America's support.
Yeah, America hasn't been able to get the weapons to them somehow. I mean, that is the key issue. They've got to have the weapons to defend themselves, know how to use the weapons, and that's why what I see that we need to have defectors from the army to join the protesters to help them in this whole process. I mean, you get enough defectors from the army, they could help. They could break into the headquarters and get the weapons for them. But somehow, weapons aren't getting to them to defend themselves, and that is the basic issue. If they don't have that, then it's never going to work.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you know, you had the pleasure of meeting Prime Minister Netanyahu. I've met him too. Wonderful guy. I like him. I support him. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't really understand him. They don't support him. And that has to do with the alt-right regime here in this country, which is very sad. But what do you think about, his country is having him go on trial, and the President Herzog will not pardon him. And President Trump has asked President Herzog to pardon him. What say you about this? Why is President Herzog allowing this? And why are Netanyahu's main cabinet people, whatever, I don't want to say it's Likud, but people outside of Likud allowing this trial to continue, especially while we're still in war over there?
Well, I don't see President Herzog as courageous as Prime Minister Netanyahu. And I suspect it's out of fear of some people there in positions of power, a fear of not wanting to displease them. And I'm very upset that he didn't pardon Prime Minister Netanyahu, as well as President Trump is also. And the left in Israel is causing so much problem, leading to a lot of unrest. So I see the left people in Israel a lot like the left people here in America. They remind me of communists in some ways, but
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
very troubling.
It is. So I was in Budapest, Hungary recently, and I had the pleasure of being there under Viktor Orban, and I met a very good man, Martin Grozdy. As you know, they had an election. Mr. Orban didn't win his reelection, which was very sad. We all thought he was going to win reelection. And this young guy gets in who actually worked under Orban since 2024, but he says some pretty radical things. Like, he invites Netanyahu to come to his country, but then he says he will stand with the orders of the ICC, where if Netanyahu comes to my country, I will arrest him. Now, what do you think about that? Are you concerned about the country of Hungary, which has been out of communism for so many years? They had a great prime minister there and great president. Actually, this new prime minister, he got rid of the president and put his brother in as like a foreign minister working under him, which a lot of people are like, that's nepotism. What is your opinion about this new guy coming in? And also, I'm going to extend it even further to the what is it going to do for the Hungarian-Israeli alliance, but also the Hungarian-Slovakia alliance, because that's huge. Slovakia just had an election with a very conservative president there now. My good friend Doug Mastriano is going to, hopefully he'll be confirmed. I think he will be the new ambassador to Slovakia. So what say you about those relationships between the Hungarian-Israel alliance and the Hungarian-Slovakia alliance, in your opinion?
It is terrible, what's been happening with Hungary about this issue. Anyone that would want to or seek to arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu, President Trump has made a very clear statement about the ICC, and I see the ICC as a criminal court, not legitimate whatsoever. I don't respect their opinion, and so I would think very clearly that it would impact the the relationships between Israel and them, and I want as much acceptance of Israel as possible all around the world, and I can't tolerate this anti-Semitism that is what is really exhibited by the person that would want to arrest the prime minister. President Trump could put pressure on this hungry person that's making these threats, and maybe he would be back down if the U.S. and President Trump, make a threat, for them, economically or whatever. So
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, we can make a difference if we threaten the Hungary with an economic blockade or something.
No, I agree. I mean, the young guy just got in, so he hasn't done any damage yet, but he's got to cater to the people that got him there. And I know he goes back and forth, and he says, I will continue to build the border wall and keep the illegal immigration even, stronger than Orban did. He'll keep illegals out of our country. But yet the way he talks, he doesn't want to work with our biggest ally, Israel. And, I hope that he'll work with America. I mean, Hungary is part of NATO. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's very, very, very scary. Turning to this point, Prime Minister Netanyahu, he announced that he was not going to that he doesn't want to rely anymore on the United States to pay for firearms or arms to Israel. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's good for Israel to be, self-sustaining in that regard. I know that Israel is such a tiny country, and Israel can't do everything. But, that would be, I think it'd be miraculous if Israel were able to develop not only their own weapons, but their own aircraft, everything. But yeah, that would be super expensive for Israel to do. So far, the U.S. has been very supportive of Israel overall, but not of course under the Biden administration that much, or especially Obama. It's very upsetting, having a Democrat in the position of power in Washington, D.C., because I see it as so an immoral party, very immoral. I know there's immorality going around in any party. But I think of the Republican Party being the party of Lincoln and what President Lincoln stood for, about the freedom for the Black people, the slaves, that he did so much, a great sacrifice. We are facing our 250-year anniversary, and President Trump has made it clear it's the Judeo-Christian heritage of America that has made it great. Mark Levine actually did a wonderful presentation recently, just the other day, about our 250-year anniversary and what has made it great. And for us to continue, we need to speak up and remind people it is that heritage and that heritage alone that will keep America great. To respect the God of Israel, and as you know, Alexandra, I'm a deep supporter, a so wonderful supporter of the God of Israel. I mean, I could not live without His help. America cannot live without His blessing.
Amen. We just have a couple minutes left. Tell my audience, Dr. Harper, what you're working on, where we can find you, where my audience can look you up, where they can like and subscribe you, and what can we do to help push your mission forward?
Well, first of all, I'd invite people to pray for me. It is so difficult working on exposing anti-Semitism, but I'm involved with a book project, very unique in things first ever been done before by White House correspondents, a book on combating anti-Semitism and especially exposing it from all around the world at the White House when we get to report there. So people can participate in that book. Needs are, their needs for cover editing and basic support to bring this to the publication stage and distribution. But people, I would encourage them to support this so important book on combating anti-Semitism. And by the way, featuring President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu as the leaders in combating anti-Semitism. I want them to get credit for all that they have done for Israel and standing against Iran. But what courage they have in this matter. So thankful for them. But our YouTube channel, the name of it is Intermountain Christian News. You can also find it by my name, Dr. Anthony Harper. So you can go that and be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, making a difference, because the White House will pay attention to the more YouTube subscribers you have, the better. So I think they're really into numbers. And so if I have many millions of subscribers like Joe Rogan has, then I think that would make a difference in the White House paying very, very much attention. But with President Trump and the Prime Minister Netanyahu, so busy in combating, the evils of the Iran regime and combating anti-Semitism, it'd be great to have them, meet with me about this book. And our website is imcnews.org, and people can learn more.
That'd be awesome. And I do want to encourage everybody to see the interviews that you've done. You recently interviewed our ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. That was a great interview. And this is all on your channel. And I really want people to really, study what the good doctor has done, because he's done such great extensive work, and to watch you through different administrations too, and how you've grown. And I really want the audience to see that as well. And we here on America's Pulse Network, we appreciate the work that you do. We are honored by the work that you do. And I'm honored to have you on my show. You can come on anytime you want, of course.
It's great to join you, Alexandra. I'm so glad you can be at the White House.
Thank you. Me too. And I'll see you there.
Thank you. As soon as possible, I pray.
As soon as possible. Well, thanks, guys. Before we go on our break, we're going to go to our second sponsor, Richardson Nutritional Center, rncstore.com/ALL. Type in ALL, get the 10% discount. I actually just recommended to a woman the other day. She got on there. Her husband has stage 4 cancer. And she bought him right away, and he started taking him within a week. And she's like, oh my God, I see such a difference, because she thought she lost hope. So if you have a relative that has cancer, a relative that is has precancerous things, post-cancer, this is so good for your body. It has such great nutritional value to it. I know for myself, it's helped with my immunity. It's also helped with my energy levels. I've lost weight from these supplements. So please, guys, this is, again, really good for detoxing. There's no seed oils in it. As you know, RFK Jr. is pulling away the seed oils, the synthetic dyes and coloring that's in our food. If you are planning on getting pregnant, or if you want to get pregnant, or you're expecting, these are great supplements for you too. You know, I'm in areas all the time where I hear these stories where like it takes forever to women to get pregnant, or the men have low sperm count. This is the trick for you. rncstore.com. If you are married and you're having a problem getting pregnant, or if your husband has low sperm count, get these supplements. rncstore.com/ALL. If you don't type in ALL, you do not get the 10% discount. And of course, the more you spend, the more you get off. I just want to say thank you so much for people that are watching us and following us from all over the country and the world. We do get people from Israel and other countries that do watch us. I do have a lot of friends that do watch. They don't comment, which is fine. I appreciate the people that have commented tonight. And again, we are currently live on YouTube, Spotify, Substack, X, Rumble, True Social, TikTok, Facebook, Parler, you name it, we're on it. You can also watch this live right now on our website, americaspulsenetwork.com. If you are interested in joining our network to become another podcaster on our network, please go to americaspulsenetwork.com, fill out the network form. We're also always looking for sponsors, either to sponsor my show, to sponsor Damon's show, or the Pulse, or to sponsor the entire network. So please go to americaspulsenetwork.com, click on that sponsorship form, fill it out. We would love to have you as sponsors. It's very important. Our sponsors mean a lot to us. We heavily promote their products, and I can tell you, their products do very well on our show when we promote. So please, guys, follow us, like and subscribe. We'll be right back after the break.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangen and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. We are back with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. So segment 3 talks about professionalism in the workforce. As we're seeing a lot in Maryland, or excuse me, not Maryland, DC, and on Capitol Hill, I mean, all these senators and congressmen, they all cheat on their wives. They all cheat on their husbands. It's very common. If you're in politics, if you're an elected official, majority of them, if you're not cheating on your spouse, there's something wrong with you. And they get away with it. And I'm very happy and proud of the American people for not letting this go. I know people are like, well, this is, someone's personal business. What they do behind closed doors is, it's their business. They're serving our country. They're using your taxpayer dollars, and they're screwing around instead of doing the job that you voted them to go in there and do. They're getting paid to screw each other. They're getting paid to have an affair on your dime. They're getting paid to work with special interests and lobbyists, and they're being paid for by them, and they have to do their bidding. I mean, the problem is that people get into office and they feel they have a sense of power because they're a lawmaker, and they feel they can get away with a lot of the shenanigans that they do. So I thank the American people for ousting Mr. Massey tonight. And also, you're going to oust Lauren Boebert as well, because she's a whore. Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene, another whore. She's out. Let's think of all the people that are out. Candace Owens, another whore. I mean, she's completely out of the loop with the White House and with Charlie Kirk. I mean, all these people that are on the outs are all whores, adulterers, liars, thieves. I mean, Thomas Massey literally stole from the American people. Lauren Boebert as well. Rand Paul probably cheats on his wife too. It's very common in DC. It's very common on Capitol Hill. I mean, we saw even staffers of congressmen and senators, they sleep around. Some to the point where they have discussed really sodomizing relations in a Senate committee hearing room, like with Ben Cardin's old staffer. That's on taxpayer dollars. It's on your taxpayer dollars. We have to hold these people accountable. So I thank you for holding them accountable at the ballot box. But we have to make sure that they do not have a voice once they're out of office. And they're going to try to get on CNN or ONN or Fox News or have their own podcast and try to get their word out that way. But these people are elected officials in office screwing around on your dime. I'm glad that people have called them out, and I'm glad that the American people have voted them out. And we'll put up the first slide by @Laura Loomer. So Laura Loomer, very supportive of President Trump. She has been on top of, she actually interviewed a couple days ago Mr. Massey's ex-girlfriend. And if you go on @Laura Loomer on her X account, you will see the entire interview, the full 2-hour exclusive interview that she did with Thomas Massey's ex-girlfriend. So she writes, further proving his lack of character, Thomas Massey's ex-girlfriend, Cynthia West, told me during our interview that just a couple months into her 5-month relation with Congressman Massey, which began 2 months after his wife of 30 years died, Massey gave Cynthia a, quote, promise ring and told her he loved her after telling her to move to DC to be with him. The promise ring he gave her is a ring that belonged to the mother of Massey's dead wife. That's disgusting. How come he didn't give the ring to his daughter? Talk about depraved behavior. Watch the full 2-hour exclusive interview. Kentucky voters need to see this before they vote, which is today. Thank you, Laura Loomer, for exposing this. I believe because of her extensive research and her extensive reporting, that's one of the reasons why Thomas Massey didn't win either. But 2 months after your wife dies, you have a relationship with someone else? What about the grieving process? What about the mourning process? I know his wife died of cancer. I know other doctors where their wives have died and they were in a 30-year wedding or 30-year marriage with them, and then they're off getting remarried 5 months later. Too coincidental, too close to call. In Judaism, for example, you're supposed to wait at least a year in mourning to even think of dating somebody else or marrying somebody else. Same thing if you're a relative of yours dies, like a mother or a father. You are in mourning for at least 11 months before you even think to have your father remarried, or even think to bring someone into your world that you would call mom. It's a very hard process. I mean, you see your spouse dying, and then 2 months later, you're off sticking it to someone else. Like, you have no remorse, no mourning period. Well, and then the argument goes, well, maybe his wife told him to be with someone else after she died. Maybe she was so sick for 10 months, a year. She gave him permission. That's that excuse. I mean, if you're a God-fearing person, you believe in God and you believe in Judeo-Christian values, you know this is wrong. Also, the ex-girlfriend of Thomas Massie said that he would force her to do like weird, salacious things, weird sexual things with him. Stuff to the point where it was like satanic. She couldn't believe that this was a congressman. And I don't know if she was planning on marrying this man, but for him to give her a ring, a promise ring that was from his wife, his late wife, or his late wife's mother, that's disgusting. It shows that the man is selfish. They didn't care about anybody but himself. That maybe this was his way of detox. You could say, oh, this was his way of detoxing or coping. But 2 months after your wife dies of cancer, you're off sticking it to someone else? Is that appropriate? I asked that question to my audience. Would you do something like that? Do you think this is acceptable behavior? And I don't want to judge. Look, I'm not God. This is between you and God at the end of the day. I will not judge. I do not judge. But I will have an opinion on this. And I can be honest with you. As I've gotten a little bit older and wiser, I am more observant. I am more religious. I really read the book more now than ever. But what he did is disgusting. Let's go to the second slide by Laura Loomer. So this actually shows, so Loomer Unleashed. So again, if you haven't seen Laura Loomer's exclusive interview with her, I recommend you do. It's a full 2 hours. And in this, it says exclusive. Thomas Massie's ex-girlfriend tells me one of the reasons why she decided to go public with her story is because he's taking money from Iranians in the Islamic lobby. Former congressional staffer and Representative Thomas Massie's ex-girlfriend. That was the nail in the coffin for me right there. That he's taking money from Iranians and the Islamic lobby. That's why he's so anti-Semitic. That's why he was pushing to not support Israel, to not go to war with Iran. That's why he was screaming, America first, America first. All these idiots like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you don't think they're getting money from the Islamic lobby? Congressman Matt Gaetz? I mean, Laura Loomer proved that Tucker Carlson gets money from the Qatari government. Candace Owens? I mean, wake up, people. Wake up. You have anti-Semites in Congress. It's really sad. My friend Sam Rosenblum, he said, oh my God, there's so much anti-Semitism in some of these central committees because you're dealing with these alt-right crazies. In Frederick County, there's a guy that's running for governor, and his children are extremely, his 2 oldest children are extremely anti-Semitic. And I've contacted this guy. He was a former state delegate. I'm not going to say his name. Everybody knows who he is, what I'm talking about. I contacted him and I showed him, I screenshotted him the heinous things that his son wrote to me privately and wrote publicly. That, you know, Jews are Satan, that they're pedophiles. I mean, all this crap, all this alt-right crap. And I asked him to explain it. You know, can you explain this? Is this really your son? Is this how you guys really feel about Jews? And you're running for governor of Maryland again, where you have a lot of Jews that live in Maryland, especially Montgomery County and Baltimore County and Howard County. How are you going to explain this to your Jewish voters, your Jewish Democrat voters that you need? The problem is this guy running for office does not know how to cross the aisle. That's why I fully support and endorse John Myrick and Brenda Chaim for governor and lieutenant governor of Maryland. John Myrick and his children and Brenda Chaim and her children would never, ever spew anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic rhetoric. I've talked to Brenda Chaim and John Myrick in length about combating anti-Semitism and how we need to push for full Holocaust education in the entire state of Maryland. Mandate it. There's nothing wrong with mandating a curriculum. It's better this way. It's not. It's not going to hurt the child. It's going to help, because this is important history. Someone told me if you mandate the Holocaust, it's going to do the opposite. The kids will be turned off because some of them don't live in very high Jewish communities, or they think that the Holocaust got rid of anti-Semitism. I don't know where that person would come up with that logic. But you don't just stop from there. You teach the Holocaust all the way to what happened on October 7th. But to say we should mandate it, because, quote, there was other suppressions in our country, well, then teach it all. But to only teach the Holocaust for a day or a week, or consider it an elective, it's an optional thing that kids can learn, not even part of the full year curriculum. That is asinine to me, because I'm from the state of Florida and we were mandated to learn it in the entire 7th grade and 8th grade. And that's what I continue to fight every day. But again, I thank the American people tonight for voting against Mr. Massey, for voting against his crap and combating anti-Semitism by not voting for him, because he stands for everything that is wrong and not everything that's right. Well, just a little heads up, everybody. For those who don't know, I'm involved in a big event tomorrow night in Ohio in Solon Park. Let's put up the flyer for that. There you go. So we are celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month. It is tomorrow night from 5 to 8 p.m. The location is the Solon Veterans Memorial Park. There it is right there. It is the organization is End Jew Hatred. It is a nationwide organization. It is run by my friend Mark Leiner. He is awesome. He's put the majority of this together, and we have a lot of great sponsors. As you know, the Lawfare Project is run by my good friend Brooke Goldstein. We have, I can't read because it's so small. It's Jams by Josh, D&H. We have a woman who's actually making a cake, a kosher dairy cake. So we're having kosher dairy food because it is a holiday called Shavuot. So Shavuot is one of the most significant holidays in Judaism. It is when the Jews got the 10 Commandments. So Shavuot actually starts Thursday night at sundown. Services are at 8:30, wherever service you go. If you go to Chabad, they start right at sundown. So it's Thursday night with a little light meal up into Friday morning services that start at 10 a.m. Then you have what they call the Yisker service. It's the memorial service. That's where you memorialize your loved ones at around 11:30, depending on what Chabad you go to. And then Saturday night ends Shabbat, where we say Havdalah, and we end the Shabbat together. But Shavuot is a very significant holiday in Judaism. We will, whatever synagogue you go to, I would recommend you go to Chabad, because they're going to read the full 10 Commandments. And that, I mean, you want to read it. I mean, you want to hear them read it. You want to be there when it happens. It's very significant in Judaism. And as you know, last weekend we had the National Shabbat, which I hope everybody, whether you're Jewish or non-Jewish, celebrated. But this Shabbat is even more important because it is right before Shavuot. It's the night before Shavuot. So please, guys, come to this. If you are in the Ohio area at Solon Veterans Memorial Park, I have a lot of people from Ohio that watch my show, and I will be singing and speaking. We have a bunch of great speakers. It is a nonpartisan event. It's not a political event. It is focusing on ending Jew hatred. Please, guys, bring your Israeli flags. If you have, anything that represents Israel with you. And you may see me in my Israeli flag dress. You may see me in that dress. I'm gained a little bit of weight since I know I said I lost weight, but I've gained a little bit, running around and schlepping around. But I'm going to be wearing so many different pairs of Spanx to suck me in. So hopefully I'll get into that dress. But it's going to be a great event. I'm really excited to be a part of it and to be a part of this organization. And I think everybody in Solon that's involved, I think everyone in Ohio that was involved in this. I think, the sponsors and the vendors that are coming in, anybody who's donated to this organization. I do recommend you go to #EndJewHatred /Cleveland and give a donation to Mark Leiner. He has a GoFundMe because in order for them to do these events They really pride themselves on getting donations from people because it's for a good cause. The money goes to a good cause. It goes to helping the Jewish community. It goes to combating anti-Semitism. It goes to help push full Holocaust education into schools. And it's a very empowering organization. And I'm so happy that I can be a part of it tomorrow night. And the weather's supposed to be great. So, and it's supposed to be a little bit cooler. We've had a little bit of a heat wave here in Ohio. It's been like 87 today. It was like 82 yesterday. We've had a bit of a heat wave. Tomorrow we get a little bit of a cool down and then it goes up again. But please, guys, come out. It's open and free to the public. But please bring some cash for some of the vendors. And again, we are celebrating one of the speakers' name is Laverne. Her birthday is tomorrow. And we're going to be celebrating her birthday. And it's going to be awesome. So please, guys, come on down. It's going to be really, really great. And of course, we are on candidate and election mode for 2026 candidates. Of course, the first candidate I work with and represent is Tim Fazenbaker, running for Baltimore County District number 9. As I said, Maryland is going through that horrible mail-in ballot situation. The RNC is on top of it. So again, he lives in a very MAGA district. I encourage his voters not to do mail-in ballots, to just go right into early voting the first day, June 11th, and just go in drones and just go for Tim. The rhinos are really trying to get him, and the mail-in ballots, they solidify rhinos getting in. So don't let your vote go to someone who you don't want. Don't let your vote go to a rhino. Don't let your vote go to a developer or someone who works with developers that wants to hurt Fort Howard and hurt our veterans. Tim wants to preserve Fort Howard and help our veterans. And he also wants to fix Back River, and he wants to fix the infrastructure in his district, and he wants to make better education for his kids and for his constituents' children. So please, guys, it's very important. Go to timfazenbaker.com, make a donation with him today. He's getting tons of donations. If you want to sign, also you can contact him on Tim Fazenbaker on Facebook and at America One Phase on X. Next person is my good friend Kimberly Stansberry. She just did a huge event in Dundalk. Great reception with Rob Carson. She's running for Baltimore County Executive. She is the only woman running. If elected, she'll be the first duly elected woman county executive. She's going to win the primary. We got to get her to the general. The general, she's going up against a machine, a DNC machine, a Westmore machine, a money machine. We got to get her in there. Again, don't vote mail-in ballot. Please, God, don't vote mail-in ballot. In the general, she did phenomenal with the mail-in ballot. So in the general, if you want to do a mail-in ballot for her, do it, because she did phenomenal with the mail-in ballots when she ran in 2022. But for the primary, please, guys, go in there. Just go in early vote. Put her in there. And we'll go from there, and she will make Baltimore County great again. Next person is my good friend Daniel Eisenhart, running against the Rhino incumbent, who's, of course, pushing the mail-in ballots as well. Mr. Eisenhart has had his sign stolen from him recently, and a lot of that is due to the rhinos that live in Maryland. And we can't have that. We can't have people breaking the law in office. So that's why we got to put Daniel Eisenhart in there. Go to his website. That's his QR code. He's running for State Senate District 6 against the incumbent Rhino, who has one of the lowest CPAC ratings ever. He's such a rhino, his opponent. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to give him any credence. But Daniel Eisenhart's a great guy. He's been on our show, and he just keeps getting better and better, and we support him. Sam Rosenblum, our good friend, running for Frederick County Board of Education. Again, he is Jewish. He'll be, if elected, he'll be the second Jewish county board member with our friend Colt Black. We support him. We endorse him. Great guy. And he will get the job done. Next candidate is Jack Felton. He's running for county council at large on Frederick County, Maryland, District 2. He has been on my show. And we'll interview all these guys again before the primary, or before their primary election and before early voting, of course. Jack Felton's an awesome guy. Really cares about our country. Big Trump guy. Got to get him in. He switched to at large because they said, hey, dude, we need you here. Like, we need you. You're great. You can fill in the slot well. And he will do great as your county councilman at large. My friend Julie Spivey Perry, Very America First. As you know, in Virginia, they shut down that ridiculous redistricting map because it was illegal. Now she has a chance. She has a chance to flip this district. She has a chance to flip the seat. Let's put a good conservative MAGA woman in Virginia. It's about time. Have you hashtag had enough? I know I have. Next candidate. We got a lot of them. Our good friend Justin Murphy running for U.S. Senate in New Jersey. Love the guy. Always here on our show on the Pulse. Very smart guy. Reagan Republican. He's been campaigning all over the place. He's been working with our good friend Damon Galdo. We got to get him in the prime. We got to get him in. He's got to win the primary. We got to get him to the election. We'll have him on again before the primary election. Awesome guy. Very smart. I can't believe how old he is because he didn't look his age at all. But please, guys, go to his website right there. Click on that QR code. Make a donation. And let's make New Jersey great again. And, of course, we have our good friend Damon Galdo, who's running for New Jersey State Congress, 1st District. He's already won his primary. We got to get him to the general. He's working with Justin Murphy. So please, guys, that is Damon Galdo's QR code. You can also, don't forget to listen and watch Mr. Galdo on the Jersey Shore every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. He also is a moderator with me on the Pulse. He's been doing a lot of moderating lately, the poor guy, because we've all been busy and we're all in different places in the country and in the world. So we do thank Mr. Galdo for moderating as many times. I owe him so much for moderating and filling in for me. But he's awesome. And we're so happy that he is running for Congress. We're so happy to have him on our network. He's got a beautiful wife, wonderful children. That's the QR code, guys. Scan it, give him a donation. It's worth it. It really is worth it. And, again, guys, we are constantly, growing. Our network is always growing. Again, don't forget, we have the Pulse every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. You never know who's going to be the moderator, whether it's going to be me, Damon Galdo, Elena, Tim Fazenbaker, but we always have a good time on that show. We always have great special guests. Don't forget, we actually have a new show on our network with Jack Brangan and Constance Ditzel. It's the New Jersey State House. They're on 2 Tuesdays a month. They're on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, and sometimes the 3rd Tuesday of the month. So sometimes you'll see me on Tuesdays and sometimes you won't. Don't forget, I'm always on, every other Tuesday and every Thursday. And if I'm not, I'll tell you. Speaking of absence, so because it is Shavuot, I will not be on Thursday night because it is Shavuot. So I want to wish all of my Jewish friends all over the country and the world a happy Shavuot. I hope that it is good. I hope that it is peaceful for everybody. I hope that we have a decent holiday and we don't have a bunch of attacks at synagogues and so forth. Please, guys, be safe. Don't be afraid to go to shul. If there is constitutional carry in your state, carry. Because sometimes there's only one police officer or one security guard manning your synagogue. You have the God-given right to protect yourself. Go incognito if you have to, but please protect yourself and be safe. Protect your family, protect your children. But I encourage everybody to go to shul, because if you don't, the enemy wins. But I want everybody to celebrate Shavuot all over the country and the world. Let's have a beautiful Shavuot. Let's have a wonderful, and on Shavuot, it's very traditional to have a dairy meal. So everybody gets to have a nice dairy meal Thursday night, as well as on Shabbat, dairy lunch. And after Shabbat, of course, Shavuot Tov. And I just want everybody to be safe. Just everybody be safe this Shavuot. I will be back on Tuesday, or actually next Thursday, because I think the following Tuesday, Constance and Jack are on. But I will be back next Thursday. And, thank you guys again. Thank you to people that are watching tonight. Thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to, everybody that has been watching our show for over a year. Again, we are on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Substack now, Parler, TikTok, True Social, Facebook, X. We're on the major social media networks. We thank you for having us there. We thank you for allowing us there, but also we thank you for your friendship and your fellowship and so forth. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talked about, then share the Alexandra Levine live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you on the next upcoming episode.